live on Hip Hop Daily. We're exploring the journey of artists, writers, musicians, entrepreneurs, performers. This is a place to explore health and wellness in a variety of topics. Now, today, I just want to let you know I am your host, and I want to thank the audience for tuning in. The word for the day is inner peace. And our guest today is Phylli V.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome to the show. Phylli is a mom, a poet, an author, a community activist, and so much more. And we're so happy to have you here with us.
Thank you.
Now, I just want you to just give us an idea about what you do, because you're really amazing, before we talk about your book.
Well, I'm a mom. I'm a super mom. Sometimes I'll do writing workshops for the community when people request me, especially how National Poetry Month is coming up in April. I'm taking all inquiries. I would love to be able to come and teach and facilitate some writing workshops. I do a podcast with some of my friends at Blue Door Art Center on Wednesdays. We didn't do one today.
Because you came here to be with me. Yes.
And they're so supportive.
I really appreciate that. And tell me about that podcast. What is that about?
It's called the Rose Above It podcast, and it's called Rose Above It on Instagram. Rose Above It podcast. And our topics is empowerment and entertainment. So sometimes we'll talk about trending topics. We'll also interview people from our community that are doing things that should be acknowledged. We've had community activists. We've had grassroots organizations. We've also had a young 9-year-old girl, Malia, who's an artist, has her own art business.
Yes, she's phenomenal. I'm going to get her on, this show. So I guess what? We're going to have to come up with a deal that they could come on your show and then they come over to my show. We just kind of work together, because that's what sisters do.
Right. So It's like this Wednesday you're here at Rose Above It, and then the next Wednesday you're here with Katori.
Absolutely. So, an activist. Tell me a little bit about being an activist. How does that empower you, and how do you empower others?
Well, I'm still on my activist journey. I've been working with all organizations and agencies in downtown Yonkers for the past 10 years now. Either I've volunteered my services or I've taught writing workshops. I've led other types of workshops, art workshops, led discussions and icebreakers and conversations. But any platform I have or any opportunity I have, I'm always looking to be able to share my message, uplift people who are going through a lot of adversity. And I have a special place in my heart for young women. So I'm always talking to the girls. And any platform that I have, that's those types of things that I'm talking about.
Now, you do something else that's really cool. It's jazz, poetry, choir. Tell me about that. Tell the audience.
Shout out to the Jazz and Poetry Choir Collective. These are like my jazz gurus. We've been a family for the past maybe 7 years. I've worked with these artists before when I did some features in downtown Manhattan, and they would just play jazz behind my poetry. And it's actually a culture of jazz and poetry way before my time. So I was just really grateful and blessed to have been a part of this type of culture. Thank you, Golda Solomon, for adopting me into the jazz culture.
Shout out to Golda.
And then we eventually turned into a band, and I'm in a jazz band.
Wow. Now, are you the youngest one in this jazz band?
I am the youngest one in this jazz band, and all the other poets and musicians are amazing, and I'm so grateful to be working with each and every one of you guys.
Wow. Okay. And so tell us a little bit more. You were telling me that you do these workshops, and the next workshop, or a workshop you're working on right now, I find it very interesting. Tell us about that.
So, to give you a little bit of backstory, I am the director of children programming at Blue Door Art Center in Yonkers. And one of my jobs is to find teaching artists to come and teach children workshops. So Tamara Bridgewater came, and she owns her own company called Art in the Box. That's her on Instagram as well. And she works with MBK. We have MBK in Yonkers.
So explain MBK to the audience.
MBK stands for My Brother's Keeper. I think that was a program that Obama put into place, and they're like in different communities. I think they're in like Mount Vernon, I think Ossining, I think Peekskill, and definitely Yonkers. And they do so much with these young boys in the community.
Okay.
So I was telling her that I love writing lesson plans and workshops, and it's something that I've been trying to get back into. That's something I used to do, and then I stopped, and I'm trying to get back into it. And lately, what's the message for me has been boundaries. Mm-hmm. And some people don't have boundaries, don't know what it means to have boundaries. And if you don't have boundaries, that means you don't respect other people's boundaries. And that just ties into, having more of an assertive communication style. And I think that a lot of young people would do well with that.
Now, when did you learn about boundaries? Because I know you didn't pop out and be like, boundaries, like what?
Well, I think that definitely going to college, I'm a communication major. So everything having to do with communication and effective communication is something that I'm really interested in. I'm like a nerd for it. I self-educate myself anytime I can about communication. Yet I am not the best communicator. I'm not perfect, but I know a thing or two about a thing or two. And I do know that in order for us to be a more sustainable community of love and art and all this great empowerment work that we want to do, we need to understand boundaries and other people's boundaries. And it's a way that you show that you care about yourself. And we need to start loving ourselves. And it starts with your boundaries and what you're willing to let people do and not do to you.
Well, we're going to jump right in. Okay, you have a brand new book out, and I'm so proud of you. It is called Pretty Girl Special. And I want you to just, before we even talk about it, read a little bit to our audience. Just pick something out of there that you can share with us, a little teaser. Putting her on the spot.
Come roll with an untamed soul. Embrace my untamedness, my wildness. My freedom rings, and the sounds get caught in my curls. So they bouncy, so massive, so elevated, so be untamed.
All right. I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to buy this book right now. That sounds hot. So the title of this book, Pretty Girl Special, why do you call it that? How did you come up with this title?
So there was a few years ago, maybe like 6 years ago, I was in the Bronx and I wanted to go get this Snapple that was my favorite at the time. I was crazy for it. A raspberry peach Snapple iced tea. And I'm in the Bronx and I go into a bodega and as I entered the store, I smiled at the guy behind the counter. I smiled with my eyes, actually smiled. And then I said, "Hey, how are you?" And he's like, "Well, I'm good. How are you?" And I'm walking. I'm going to go get my drink. I bring my drink to the counter. And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I'm doing good. Thank you." And he's like, "Well, you look happy, feeling good." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm feeling good." And he's like, "You know what? Go grab another drink. You get the Pretty Girl Special."
Oh, okay.
And the way that I describe that experience is just the fact that I was kind to somebody, and not that I was kind to somebody, but me being a woman was kind to someone. Sometimes when women are kind, it comes off as flirting, or you must want that person, or if you're giving someone too much eye contact, we're told to be blocked off. We're told not to give free love or whatnot. And I actually, I knew that this would happen. How do I, like, what does pretty girl special mean and those things? So I actually put the definition of pretty girl special on the back of the book, and I'll just read that.
Yes.
Real quick. So pretty girl special as a noun is a reward that operates as a reflection of the light we exert, a prize for shining. It's an emotion expressing the belief that your femininity is divine energy validated. A privilege or exception we receive by default for simply existing in our truth. So the sentence here says, I put on pretty girl special to get up out of bed this morning. So in this definition here, it's something that you do. It's something that makes you feel good. It's confidence. It's confident that you are enough all the time, every day, and you put that on. And with you being enough and knowing you're enough and that confidence, you can change people's lives. You know, you don't know if someone else smiled at that person today, but you did. You said hello. You asked someone how they were feeling. As a verb, a specific style of communication that expresses humility, love, and respect with nonverbal, intentional, intimate interactions that sometimes results in free shit. To embrace oneself without reason, doubt, or explanation. So the sentence here is, girl, see if you can get us that pretty girl special. And you're as a woman, and the act of pretty girl special is having an intimate, close conversation with anyone, a woman, a man, a child, doesn't matter. But you're having an intentional, intimate conversation where you're giving the person eye contact and smiling, and you're giving them love. You're transferring energy.
It's really about the energy, right? It's the energy that you're giving to another, even if they don't smile back, right?
Right.
Even if they're not smiling back and you just break out a smile, you know, and you don't know how you're making someone's day. And I can definitely understand that. So let's talk a little bit about, you know, this book and why did you write it, and a little bit about what is this about? Because when you told me about this book, it just touched my heart.
Yeah, so this book is this book explains how I survived post domestic violence relationship, a very abusive relationship, and this is the poems that I used to express myself. I really had to put on after the relationship. It ended. I mean, it was ended for a long time before it finally ended.
Well, how long were you in this relationship?
For about 4 or 5 years.
And during that time, the whole time you were under domestic abuse?
It gradually turned into different types. I mean, in the beginning, it was verbal, and I was strong. You're always strong in the beginning. I was strong at first, and then it's a cycle of abuse. You know, it's a really good stage, and then it'll go on its course, and then it'll be fighting, then it'll get really bad, and then it gets good again. And
that's what keeps you there.
That's what keeps you there, because the highs are really high and they feel amazing, right. But then the lows are just so low, and you don't think that you could even come back from that. But you know, when the person makes you dinner and then buys you flowers and then apologizes, you really get caught up in this spiral. You become dependent. A lot of things happens, and
is there a fear of moving on? Like you get kind of comfortable in that cycle.
For
right?
Sure. You get really comfortable, and it almost feels like it's all that you know. And they in the natural typical abusive situation, they make it so that way you don't feel like you can leave. Sometimes you don't want to leave. It's difficult for you to think about how you love someone so much, but this person makes you feel like they don't. But at times they do, and it's like you almost get to a point. This is what happened to me, is I just got so nonchalant. Like, I just felt like, well, I'm not going to be too happy today, or I'm not going to be too sad, because I don't want to hit rock bottom when, it doesn't go the way I think it's going to go.
Now, what was it like that, aha moment, or that moment where you gathered all that strength to say, this is enough?
It was always mainly mental and emotional abuse. When it did get physical, I never got punched in the face. I never got slapped in the face.
So you never ended up like in the hospital?
Never ended up in the hospital.
Okay.
But this last time, we got into something in the bathroom. And I wanted to leave, and he wouldn't let me leave. And it just got really dangerous in the bathroom, and you don't fight in the bathroom. And I remember screaming, and I remember feeling like this could be it. This like could be it. Right.
Be over.
Right.
In that second.
Yeah, this could be it. There was a point where me and him was in the tub, and I felt like this could have been it. So that was the first and last time he slapped me, and that day I knew. I was like, and my daughter was in the house.
And how old was your daughter around that time? Just months old.
Months old.
Okay.
And I remember saying, I want to live. And I talk a lot about that in my book. I never wanted to live so bad. I wanted to live, and I wasn't sure, because that's the thing that happens in abusive relationships is it never gets better. It always gets worse. And you think it's getting better, but it's not. It always gets worse. And I wasn't going to stick around for it to get any worse.
Well, we're glad that you didn't, definitely. And your daughter and everyone that loves you, I'm sure. I'm glad that you had the strength and the courage to just get yourself out of that situation. And my next question to you is, writing this book, was it spiritual for you? Was it healing for you? What were you going through when you were writing?
That's a really good question. Writing the book was so healing. I remember there was this one point when I was working on the book that I went to my parents' house and I collected all my journals. I grabbed everything and I read through everything. And when I was in that relationship, halfway I stopped writing, because it would be an argument as to the reason why I wasn't writing love poems. Why are you always writing things that are so sad and you make me look bad? And it was just so painful for me to always explain that this is the way I'm feeling right now. This is the way I express myself. I gotta write about how I'm feeling. I can't write about how I'm not feeling. I'm not feeling those feelings, so I can't write about it. So I stopped writing. So when I was going through all my journals during my writing process, I was crying, because the love poems were incredible. The amount of love poems I wrote this man, thinking that could have been the answer. He'll read this poem. He'll know how much I love him. I'm going to read this poem to him, and maybe, he'll get it. That I don't want no problems. I just want us to be happy. I want a family. And those poems were so emotional to read. I went live on Instagram and I started talking about it. I'm like, guys, I'm about to pack up everything and go into my car and go home and go sleep, or find a way to distract myself, like how I talk about in my book. We'll get to that later on. But that was a really hard point. Once I passed that point, everything else just flowed, and it was definitely healing. I needed to read those poems. I needed to know that, I wasn't crazy. That I did fall in love with this man, and this was that time. And it was, there were points that were very beautiful. And I need to honor those poems. I'm on Instagram, like, should I throw them away? Should I burn them? What do I do? Do I give them to my daughter? And thank you for everybody who was on that Instagram live, because if it wasn't for you guys, I definitely would have packed up and this book would have never been here.
Now, is there anything in the book that you did not write that was too personal to bear, or you're saving it for your next book?
Okay. Another good question. You're so good at this.
Thank
I'm so
you.
happy to be here. I'm having fun.
And I just want to take this moment to say thank you for sharing your life, because not too many people can do this. Not too many people can get on social media or get on TV or get anywhere and just start talking about their lives. It makes it very vulnerable. It's a very vulnerable situation. So I just want to thank you. And we here at Live Hip Hop Daily, we want to help you and thank you.
I appreciate you acknowledging that, because I'm here. I feel like my palms are sweating. I'm like, I haven't talked about this in a little while now.
All right,
because you're not really supposed to talk about this stuff. It happens, and we're not supposed to make people look bad. But this is my truth.
It is your truth.
What did you ask me?
I asked you. I'm sorry. Got all lovey. Was there anything that you did not include in the book?
So that's an interesting question, because with my team, shout out to my friends and everyone who helped me make this happen. And all my editors too, who helped me, especially with these definitions. These definitions are amazing. So during my process, I was going back and forth with my team about what I should do. There was about 4 poems that I knew I needed some more time with, because I was so stuck. And of course, they're the pieces that talk a lot about those not so happy times and other things. So I needed more time with those pieces, and I was worried about being able to have some model copies for the book release. So we came up with it with my team that I would print out the copy, the model book, which is this right here.
And look at this.
And those are all my edits. And once I ordered my copies, my official copies, I added those pieces, and I needed more time with those. So why did you need
more time? Was it just difficult to relive that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I needed more time to sit with it and write it, because I told myself, if I'm going to put my life out there, then it gotta be worth it. I really want you to, I'm already sharing with you what happened, so why not just share it with you completely so you can feel it?
Now, who do you really, really want to read this book? I know we want everybody. So everybody, she's going to tell you how to purchase it. But who do you really want to read this book? If you had to pick a group.
I think I would want single moms to read this book. And all women struggling with abusive situations. Sometimes you have abuse in your home. It could be a family member. It could be your parent. It could be, anyone. And I just would want you to have other options. Wear that pretty girl special. Own it.
Well, you saying that, can you read another excerpt from your book?
I'll read you my pretty girl special poem, and I'll say it.
Oh, she's got this. All right.
Okay. The catalyst to my transition. The way I keep strong. How I survive. I call it pretty girl special. The slate in my strut fierce, I stop time. Staring into my future manifesting, looking back only to see how far I've come. I'm glowing colors, chakra popping, my voice like guided meditations. Let me inspire your life. I give up a smile with my eyes, reminding you of your uniqueness. You're deserving of love. I changed people. I changed the world. I share my magic with you. It's untamed. My possibilities are limitless. I designed my destiny being my best self. Yo, shout out to Pretty Girl Special. Shout out to the girl who takes on the world, fearless and empowered, who will face adversity every day and be resilient every moment and make it look sexy every time I made it. A year later, I did it. Hugging myself, I'm a survivor. Come celebrate with me. My freedom, the story of my life, the fight, the line in my chest. Cheers to wanting to live like I need to breathe. Celebrate the journey back to me. Dancing in my magic, pouring in Pretty Girl Special.
Oh my goodness. Woo! Yes, that is beautiful. How powerful.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you so much.
I'm about to cry. You got tears going? I gotta get it together. So my next question that I want to do is ask you, how long did it take you to complete this book?
Oh, the grace of God, man. So, this book was a project of sometime around this time. I decided I need to come back. When I was in this relationship, I stopped doing everything I loved. I couldn't move. I couldn't do art. I couldn't write poetry. I stopped posting. I stopped reading. I stopped writing. I stopped talking. I stopped everything. I lost myself. And then I'm like, you know what? My 27th birthday needs to be my comeback. All right. I'm out here losing weight, changed my diet. Okay. Motherhood looks great on me.
Yes.
And I've just been writing, and I've been feeling a lot more like myself, but it took work. It took work. I was giving myself affirmations every single day. And life happens. So maybe like December now. Mind you, around this time, I wanted to do this big event where I showcased my artwork, my poetry, a visual. I was going to dance. I was going to just be creative in all aspects. This was going to be like my show, like completely. And life happened. So then December, my best friend calls me and says, hey, what are we doing for your birthday? I'm like, we could go to dinner. She's like, dinner? She's like, it's December, and you said you were going to publish a book and do this whole art show. We're doing this. I said, well, I don't have enough time to do it the way I want to do it. She said, well, what can you do? I'm like, I could do the book. She's like, so we'll do the book. I'm like, but no t-shirts, no mugs. She's like, no, we'll just do the book. So December, I started, and I published the book the week before my birthday, February 2nd. So what was that, like 2 months?
Wow.
2 months. And I was dedicated. I made some sacrifices. I stayed up late. I got up early. And I never wanted something so bad so far. It was a beautiful thing. And I've been talking to my students. I work with students, and I teach anti-bullying and anti-drug programs. Mm-hmm. That's kind of like my day job. And I've been telling them, we started talking about goal setting and decision making and stuff like that. And I told them, I said, you got to do that one thing. Do that one thing and let it boost your confidence so high that you're like, what's next? I can do it all. I can do anything. I'm going to do everything. Mm-hmm. And that's what this book has been giving me. Crazy amount of confidence.
Well, what would you tell someone that's brand new, like you are, first time publishing a book, correct? Yeah. What would you tell them was the most difficult obstacle that you faced in doing this?
Being dedicated, seeing it through, following your deadlines. I made sure I met all of my deadlines, even if that meant that I needed to go to a friend's house and say, hey, what's your kids doing? Can my kid play with your kid while I could have a moment so I could just write? I just need an hour. And that's the type of things I had to do to get this book done.
So did you actually sit down and schedule it out? Is that how your process is? Like, okay, Monday through Sunday, what are the free times that I have to do this? Or where can I squeeze in this extra time?
Yep.
So do you
call
put
in favors?
Yeah.
Yep. I had to plan it. I owed this to myself. I haven't been myself for a long time, and I owed this to myself.
Well, now we're going to get to some soul questions.
Oh, I didn't know that there was this part of that show.
Yes, yes. So first of all, when I say the word, so this is called the Art and Soul Show.
Okay.
Right? But when you think of the word soul, what comes to your mind? What does the word soul mean to you?
My inner being.
Mm-hmm.
And who I'm meant to be, my purpose, my past lives. And my energy and how I feel, like my intuition.
So I said at the beginning of the podcast, I said the word of the day is inner peace. So how do you achieve inner peace in all the things that you're doing? Being a mom, running around doing all this kind of stuff, writing books and everything that you're doing in your busy day. When you need that inner peace, what do?
I have to breathe. I have to stop. I have to breathe, try and center myself, and I talk to myself. And then I pray. But I talk to myself and I'll tell myself, it's going to pass. It all passes. And I'm okay. And I'm alive and I have everything I'll ever need. I have everything I need. And then I'll tell myself, you are enough and nothing matters. It doesn't matter. Don't stress over some car tickets right now to the point where you have a headache, because a month from now, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's not worth stressing about. It doesn't matter. And then I'll pray and I'll be quiet, and I'll have to do that a couple of times. That's been my life. Mm-hmm. That's really how I've been like getting through it. Is getting up early, doing some affirmations, and always telling myself it's going to pass, and it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you can go back into time, what would you tell your younger self that you don't know, that you didn't know back then? What would you say to that inner child inside of you?
Love yourself and all that you are. And all you got to do is just continue to figure out who you are, because you can only be the best you, and the world is waiting for you and whoever you are.
That's some great advice. I have to add that to some of the things. I have a lot to say if I was going back. I have a lot of things to tell my inner child. So how do you stay true to your values? What are some of the things that you value?
I value my family, my daughter. I value my daughter. I value the time, my time. Mm-hmm. I value all my friends and how supportive they are. My family.
Mm-hmm. And what are some things that you still feel that you need to learn in life?
These questions. All right. I need to learn to not be hard on myself.
I think we all need to learn that, definitely.
Yeah.
So do you find that you're extra hard on yourself? Are you like a perfectionist, or you're just extra? Why are you extra hard on yourself? I guess that's my main question. Why do you do that?
I'm hard on myself because I feel like I sometimes waste time. Like I should have been an author when I was really hot, when I was slamming and I was doing competitions and when I was really popular. That's when the book should have came out. I should have never been the person that ended up in an abusive relationship, because when I met that person, I was teaching girls how not to fall into situations like I just fell in. That wasn't supposed to be me. And how did I let myself go, and why did I let myself stop writing? And self-worth, you know, I think I'm just always battling my self-worth.
That's that little right here in your ears, right? Just constantly going. And especially when you're doing something very powerful and you're about to do something really powerful and great, it comes up, right?
And even boundaries, you know, my wanting to teach a workshop on boundaries isn't because I'm an expert in it. It's because I'm very, very, very interested in it. And when I'm teaching it, I'm talking to myself. It's me practicing and really practicing out loud to an audience. Like, all right, well, if I'm telling you guys, I really need to practice what I preach.
And I think that, you know, you went through all these things, and now you're taking all these life lessons that you've learned, and you're sharing, and you're mentoring, and you're helping so many other people out there that may be on this same journey but in a different way. And I think that you coming out and being able to do this and share this and continue to do things even as you're learning is very important. And I salute you for doing that.
Thank you so much. At my book release party, after I read a few things from my book, I really wanted to interact with everyone who came. When I was in the relationship, a lot of people didn't see me. One of the things that happens is that, you know, you make that person your whole world. I was away from my family. I was away from my friends. My friends didn't see me. And I lost my train of thought.
You were away. You were isolating yourself.
Yeah.
And that's very common.
What did you ask me?
We kind of went off from what you still want to learn about life. But no, that's why I know. I mean, it's very important that, you know, that people understand that you can become isolated and feel like you're alone and there's nobody else out there that understands you, gets what's going on. And then there's the embarrassment in the fear as well. Oh, man,
right? Because I'm like, how am I supposed to explain to everybody that I ended up in an abusive relationship? You know, or the fact that I didn't talk about it. So when I do start talking about it, people are like, him? No way. Are you sure? No, he can't be. Girl, stop lying. And it's kind of just like discrediting to me because I was in it. You know, I'm the one who went through all that stuff. So I'm always willing and open to talk about any of my experiences because it's a culture that you're supposed to not talk about it. What happened to me, I wouldn't wish it on nobody because I'm still healing from it. It takes a while. I mean, I'm so happy that I'm a year and a half really out of it, and I've accomplished so much. When there are other people who take a long time to heal from that. I was working with my sister's place, and I had a counselor. And it was a lot of work that I had to do on myself. I was crying right before all this really happened. I was crying at my job every day. Every day.
And it's a process. So, you know, you're into it. You're doing all the things you're getting that you feel that you need, the counseling, the support, the love, and that's great. But it can continue on and on and on and on. I mean, you know, it can continue. It could be a part of your life forever. And by learning how to cope with these different things and the coping skills and the growing as you grow, you know, I think, you know, sometimes when things happen to us, we try to push it under the rug. Like, okay, it didn't happen, or we don't want it to happen, or we don't want to face it. But you're facing it. And by facing it, you're also sharing with people. And it was a part of your life. And so it's not something to cut out of your life. It's a part to nurture and grow and heal from it. But it doesn't mean that it disappears, right?
Yeah, and I think that's a good point that you brought up is that you heal from it and you grow from it because I was avoiding it for a really long time. I was avoiding it. And it's so interesting when the universe puts you in a space to heal from something. It forces you to heal through something. Because when I had to go back and read all of the things that I wrote, and going through that again, I felt like this big weight come off of my shoulders. And from the time I was homeless, as a result of me leaving him. And
how long were you, homeless?
For a whole summer. It was from like June to like September when I got my apartment.
Wow. So you had to survive. Where did you live?
I stayed with 3 people. And
bouncing back and forth?
No, actually, I was really blessed to have stayed with one person for a few weeks, another person for a few days, another person for a few weeks.
Okay.
So that was, and I was with my daughter. And being that I had to immediately go into survival mode, which I've never had to do that in my life. It was like a culture shock. Like I had to go straight into survival mode. So I'm like, all right, I just got to keep on moving. So anything I was feeling during that process of being homeless or going through court and dealing with this back and forth and trying to figure out my next moves and what I'm going to do, in my life, as I would push everything to the side. So I'll avoid. And then when it came time to put this book together, a really beautiful thing, the universe was like, all right, if you want to give birth to this beautiful thing, you need to go through it because you've been avoiding for a really long time.
Well, one of the things is please tell everybody where, because I do have a few more questions for you, but I don't want to forget to definitely have you say, where can people get this book?
prettygirlspecial.com.
Okay, well, that was very easy.
Yeah.
Okay, and you said that you already have, just from opening your book, your reception that you had, the book release, you had about how many people already just sign up to buy?
So
purchase?
23 people purchased the book pre-sale at my birthday book release event, and the place was packed. I think about 100 people came in and out. And that made me feel really, really good. Like, everyone came out for me.
Well, you're awesome.
Thank you so much.
For you. Absolutely. Another question I wanted to ask you, what makes you happy? Name some things that make you happy.
My daughter. My daughter makes me so happy. I mean, I feel like that's kind of cliche. Like, any parent, if you're a parent, your children make you happy. But my daughter is so amazing. She's smart. She's 2.5. We have full-blown conversations. She talks about things in the past and in the future, which, mind boggle me. I don't have any baby experience. None of my friends really had kids or really have kids that's around the same age as me. So I'm looking at my daughter like so impressed, and the way she carries herself, and she loves to have dinner, and she loves art and music and dancing, and she's just so amazing that I want to give her everything. And I'm so impressed by her. She inspires me. I mean, I'm a pescatarian because I wanted to try and find ways to live longer.
All right, so explain what that is.
Pescatarian is a person who's vegetarian but also eats seafood. Mm-hmm. And I just want to, and I started running. I have a trainer, so one of my other goals is to maybe run a marathon. But this is all for her. She's just been changing my life. When I mentioned that I stopped writing while I was in that relationship, and what made me start writing again was a journal I started writing to her. I started writing to her because I wanted her to know what we were going through, and that we found beauty in it, and we're making it through. And so I'm still currently writing letters to her, and that's gonna be a new project.
Are you gonna actually publish that? Okay, so that was leading into my next question. Okay, what's going on? What's next? What can we expect after this Pretty Girl special?
I'm on a roll. Like I said, do that one thing, and then everything else will happen. I am going to publish my letters to my daughter. And her name is Paislin, so the book will be called Dear Paislin. And I've been talking to a director and an editor, and I think it's going to be a short film. Dear Paislin, the film.
Wow. Okay. We're going to be there for that.
Of course.
Another question, soul question. deep down. Dig. I know you can find it.
Oh, man.
What problems in the world do you want to personally solve? If you had a magic wand, or maybe you can do without that wand, but what problem do you want to personally solve in this world?
I want to be able to educate the public about communication.
In what way?
In the way, effective communication to try and avoid abusive relationships. And also more awareness on red flags and self-love and self-worth. We got to start loving ourselves more and telling people how we want to be treated, and don't let people treat us the way that they want to. It carries over. It's generational. Your kids will see you put up with things, and then they'll put up with things. And you really got to set the example, because we're just creating generations of narcissistic people.
If you had one word of wisdom, because you know about our project on 100 Words of Wisdom, and that was with elders, but we still like to share it. So I want you to think for a second. If you had one word of wisdom for the youth of today, what one word would that be? The first thing that pops up in your head. I mean, it may change when the mics are gone. You might say, oh, I wish I would have said that. But right now, in this space with me, what one word of wisdom would you give to the youth today?
Resilience.
Ooh, I love that word. Now, why did you pick that word?
I picked that word because it's inevitable. You're going to get knocked down. And it's all about how you get back up. And you got to get back up. Because this world is made of highs and lows and goods and evils. And it's not sunshine and rainbows all day long, all the time. It's really not. And you need to appreciate your ups as much as your downs, because they're equally important, and they're always going to be there, just like bills. So you need to always bounce back up and be prepared. And every day is a new day. It's a brand new day. And get up and be prepared to take on the world.
I love that word. I love that word. Can you tell us something that you do? Oh, look at the face she's giving me.
It's getting deep. I think I'm red. I'm probably blushing.
No, I mean, you don't have to share. But is there something that you do that nobody else knows that you do? Do you have a little, like, secret something that you do? Like, do you brush your teeth in the shower?
I do that. But I also stretch. I stretch a lot, and I'm constantly pushing my body. I don't always get a chance to go out to yoga classes, but I like to stretch. And sometimes maybe me and a friend will be sitting in my living room or my kitchen, and we're having a conversation. I'll just break out in stretch mode, and I'll just start stretching out of nowhere. And I'm really flexible, and I have this like fantasy that one day I'll, if I condition myself well enough, then maybe I'll like join the circus.
What? Wow.
And be a contortionist.
Wow. Okay, so I definitely didn't know that about you. That's really awesome.
I really like to stretch, and I'm really flexible.
Okay. Another question, and you could think about how you want to answer
Nobody
this.
really knows that.
Yeah, well, now they do. Hey, hit the love button. Is that the like button? I call it the love button if
I
you
like
that. So I got so excited. I already forgot my question. What was my question? Oh, my goodness. Okay. So I wanted to ask you, this is a crazy question, but I just want to just go there because we have some more time. If you were a new crayon in a box, what color would you be?
Wow, Katori. Awesome question. I've been really feeling yellow lately. So my favorite color is green, like olive green. But lately, since like my book release, Like,
Oh,
I've
yeah.
just been really flowing. And even, like, my book and the title and the picture and me being here today has just been me just saying yes and just flowing with, like, the wave. And a yellow. I would be a type of yellow. A yellow that's really goddess-like. A yellow that is magical. A magical yellow.
Well,
Like chakra yellow.
I love that. I love that. And this is it. This is Pretty Girl Special. And where do we get this again?
PrettyGirlSpecial.com. And my Instagram is PrettyGirlSpecial_.
So people can follow you, definitely. Yeah. So another thing I want to just end with, can you end us with another something from your book?
Okay. What are our viewers looking like? I have some erotica stuff. Or maybe I'll do something else. Yeah.
I'm getting told from the producer, do it.
All right, I can probably do that.
Do it. And do it nice and slow since we have some time. All right, snap. All right, here we go.
This one's called Honey. In the morning, after you leave my bed, you make me tea. My morning filled with honey and whipped cream. I be so whipped. Cream, cherry on top, give me promise kisses. Blow me kisses like snowflakes, I make snow angels, honey. I be so whipped. Cream sticky on the rim of my mug sweet. I'll be your privacy, listening to your fantasies, adding cherries and strawberry sauce on top. Talk to me nice. Whipped cream on everything. You are everything, and I am whipped every time you make me tea, honey. Hold my hips tight while I'm on top. Stir love in circles. Every time you leave my bed and leave your frame in my sheets, I await your arrival, so thirsty. For you to bite me on my thighs while you rub the kinks out of my week, climb on top of me, take all the time you need. In the morning, I call out your name, honey, as I sip my tea. I'm not done. Give me lazy love. Let me trace your body with my fingertips. Let me trace your body with my face, spelling out I love you with my tongue on your chest, spelling out I love you. I hum songs on you. I like you in my mouth. I whisper while we kiss. Wrap your hand around my hair. Pull me to your lips. Are you ready? Tilting my head back just enough. And as soon as I feel your saliva on my tongue, the middle of me gets hot like tea. Honey, I'm whipped cream. Put me on top of your to-do list this morning.
Woo! Oh, yes. Ha! I will never look at honey the same way. I will never taste honey the same way. Oh, my goodness. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Wow. Woo!
I know it's a little hot in here now.
Yeah, how long did it take you to write that one?
Not that long. Not that long. Maybe a few days.
Because of experience, that was quick.
I really do like to write erotica poetry. It's been something that I've been working on. Because I do so much activism work. Mm-hmm. It's like I want to be prepared with a piece I can do for the community. Because if someone's like, "Hey, Phylli, we got the family night or something. Can you read something?" And I'm like, So I'm always in a battle between, like, you know, what do I need to write? I want to write some erotica, but I probably need to write something for my community.
Well, that was hot. And I'm glad. I'm going to have to open up these windows when you leave. But I do want to end with one more question. And that question is, after this whole experience that I'm so sorry that you went through and so happy that you're sharing it with us, how do you feel about relationships?
So it's crazy because when you asked before about something that I still need to learn, there's a few things having to do with relationships I need to learn. I need to learn how to keep my boundaries. I need to learn to love myself within maybe, you know, learning to love someone else and not fall into them and still remain myself. Maybe learn how to love again. Maybe learn how to love in a really healthy way. I mean, something that happens when you're in an abusive relationship is you kind of turn into that person. And you take on their ways, and it becomes really normal for you. So I just need to continue to unlearn things that I was conditioned in doing.
What are you going to teach your daughter about, you know, these things that can happen? What are you going to do to her? What are you, not what you're going to do to her, but what are you going to say to her to empower her, you know, being that you came from this relationship and this situation and how it affected your life? What are you going to share with your daughter?
I'm really going to work with her on her self-love and her self-worth. Every day, I tell her I'm proud of her. I tell her she's beautiful, that she's bold and she's brave and she's creative. And I tell her these words, and I tell her I love her all the time and that she's really smart. So that way she knows that she is these things. And I'm hoping that me and my daughter will do meditations together and affirmations in the morning. I want to create a routine with her. We kind of already have a routine, but, you know, when she starts to understand a little bit more about the importance of it. And I'm writing the book as I go. So when it comes time, when she has some questions, I could be like, baby girl, grab this journal and turn to this page. And you'll be able to read that I went through the same thing you went through. And let me really read it to you and how we did it, how we made it through.
Wow, that's really powerful. That's really powerful. Again, this is Pretty Girl Special. Please support this beautiful sister. She's gone through so much, and she's sharing this with you guys, everybody out there. And if there's anyone who is going through anything like this, know that you are not alone. Pick up this book, read about it, become empowered, become inspired by the words. Do you know when you're going to set up another book release, or that's not out yet?
Yeah, I'm having a meet and greet at Blue Door Art Center on March 2nd, and I'll have copies there that you can buy.
Can you give the address to that place?
Yes.
Okay.
13 Riverdale Avenue, Yonkers, New York, 10701.
And on your Instagram, you'll have the information posted?
Yes.
So people know. So what's your Instagram again?
PrettyGirlSpecial_.
And we can buy this book where?
PrettyGirlSpecial.com.
Yeah. So this is the Art and Soul Show on Live Hip Hop Daily. I want to thank my guest, Phylli V.
Thank you.
I want to thank the
so
audience
much
for listening. I want to remind everyone to keep your heart in the art and soul. And we will see you again next time. Taking this journey that you took the courage to just keep moving forward and do your thing. You're like sprinkling little powder, stardust all over the place.
Girl, I didn't have a choice. I had my little baby looking at me like I'm the most amazing thing in the world. I'm like, well, I gotta go be that person.
Yo, it's real. I mean, I can share with you. I was.
You was in college with your son, right?
Yeah, but when I was married, I was in a relationship, and it was emotional and financial abuse. And I remember the night it had to change. And my son came out. He heard the conversation going on. He came out. I guess he was going to the bathroom, and he gave me that look like the ancestors were looking at me. And he told me, I said, yo, it has to change. Because he was looking at me almost like,
what you gonna do?
What you gonna do? She's punking you, and I'm watching you.
Yo.
It was like, yo, I gotta do this. This is for my children's children. This is bigger than me. Mm-hmm. I gotta make this decision because it will affect all of us. So what you did is powerful. Mm-hmm. You knew that moment, and you did it. Don't turn back. That's the powerful thing about it. Mm-hmm. Good for you. Yeah, this was good.
Okay.
Sorry, I haven't moved yet.
No, take time.
I did my posting.
I'm like, I'm a little stuck.
Nah, let it.
Come here, honey bunny. I love you. Oh, thank you so much.
Everything came through, Rob?
Everything came through. I'm trying to get off. We're live right now. It's fine. Nobody.
Well, actually, I do need to run because I gotta go pick her up.
Oh, yes. Okay, we're not going to stop you from that.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Thank you. I've done a few interviews, but this is like this is different. This is different. I really appreciate you guys.
Yeah,
it's my first interview about the book.
No, her.
I'm really glad. So, like I
I
said,
was trying to take-
anything that
I was
comes
trying
up
to
my
put,
way, and if I can find a way to push it,
And then
and
it was like freezing.
I
It
got
said
you. We got each
connection
other.
is serving to the flash.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
check
much.
it for next time.
Bye again.
Bye, honey
Yeah.
bunny.
Yeah.
Love you.
Okay, but it's not
I
that
love
late.
you
Get
too.
them safe.
Thank you so
Give your
much.
little one a hug
I
for
will.
me
I won't be
and
No,
Evan.
that's why. So it's still going. So what should I do? Nah. Because I'm gonna tell you why. It's a reason. That shit is it's not transitioning fast once we start. It's taking a second. It's not transitioning fast once we start. But real quick, because we live right now. Let me. How do I get out of this real quick? Oh, it's not? Okay, cool. It is though, and it's still recording too, because it won't let me get past this thing. It's saying edit. But yeah, like when you transition from camera to camera, they work. Yeah, she's in the chair by herself. Okay, I want to do that, but I didn't want to. It's not gonna affect. It'll already recorded, right? I didn't want to mess up with the recording. I didn't want to just quit out of it. Yeah, call me. That's what I'm saying. It was good. It was everything. Nothing happened while it was going on. No freezing. Nothing. It was good. It's just right now it's still technically kind of going. Yeah, I didn't say nothing crazy. It was like cut, and it was a whole other person. Hold on, I want to get a she got out of here quick, but I want to get a drop from you. I meant to get one from her, but she had to go.
All right, I should have taken a picture with her.
No, I got pictures.
Yeah, you got
Oh,
pictures.
okay, cool. Cool, thanks.
Good job, Mama.
Thank you, honey bunny.
I'm gonna do a quick little canvas for you.
Yeah, the art
That'd be dope, yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And I'm thinking, I don't know how
You got that nail right there. You just hang it on there.
Yeah,
Is it
let's
there?
hang it
Yep.
there.
There's a nail right there.
Oh, I don't see it.
Look at,
Okay.
yeah, there are three little nails
Yep.
right there.
Okay, perfect.
Right there, yep.
There you go. When you first started,
I know.
you didn't say LivehiphopDaily right, but it's fine.
I didn't say.
Nobody does.
I said my tongue
You
got
gotta-
stuck.
no, it's a lot to remember. Like,
What did I say? What did I say? Live Hip Hop Daily,
Hello?
huh?
Live Hip Hop Daily.
Yeah, I know.
NYC.
Yeah, we know.
Okay,
I'll go, yeah.
let me write that back.
Yeah, we actually are still live right now. Christy just said, you're live right now.
Oh wow!
Glad I'm
Should
not
I
in
start
that.
singing? I can't sing. Come
Good
see
looking
my
for-
Your
Juma
speech might have been on
show.
there, But you ain't mic'd. You good.
Okay.
you
A Juma the play.
Yeah, you
I'm doing my hype for my play that's coming out. Hey, this is my show. Come see a Juma the play
There you go, lady.
on Instagram.
Art and
6
Soul.
shows.
The Art and Soul Show.
The Art and Soul Show. I got it right. Live on Hip Hop Daily
It was on
NYC.
It was on YouTube too. Live on YouTube too. He sent
I sent the link to Nana.
Oh,
Go
cool.
on it.
Okay.
You know she's in front of the computer doing something. So she gets that bing, she's like, who that?
Exactly. Thank you.
Shit, I need her to clean out my email. She keeps it clean. Once she reads something, delete.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so should I just...
Wait, no, step one second. Oh, shit. Oh, because I want to do that drop for you. Let me off there.
I like this one more. I love that.
Brick, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that dragon really came out nice. It's coming out. I mean, it came out nice. He still has to come and do the fire, right?
Yeah.
Because he has to put the fire on my piece.
The belly of the dragon. guess you can leave the hair white.
I can't wait to paint my piece.
Mm-hmm. You ain't got time. You got
Right
to
there.
white.
Oh,
Yeah, you gotta come a separate day for that.
Yeah. Can't be involved.
One day I could come and let y'all just do it. Yeah, I don't have to be here doing stuff.
Right.
Mhm.
That's probably the best.
Okay.
thing to
I didn't put my candles on.
do. Nobody saw him, baby.
Oh, I didn't realize.
I did not put my
I'll turn them off
candles
so you don't
on.
lose the batteries. When it's time to put them on, you ain't got no batteries.
Cut the lights down. Can we put the lights down low?
Hello?
Have a real nice vibe in here.
Yeah.
Some chanting and some meditation.
Burn the incense.
Burn some incense. Have a really
It's
It's
soul
I'm
show.
gonna wait till I see you.
Yeah, do some
Yeah,
type
just
of-
make it like zen.
Yeah, right
The
before
zen.
you air, just put it in the air.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna save my
Good
battery
job,
life.
bro.
Thank
You're
you.
doing a good job, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. I started off, I don't know, all of a sudden, I need water really. I should drink
Yeah.
some water before,
Yeah,
even though I have to go.
also have it just on
Always
deck.
have it.
Yeah, because it was like, I was practicing, then my lips got stuck together.
Mhm.
So it's like, okay, the live hip
You might
hop
even
show.
think, like,
and-
do you want to, like, do you feel like you had to stretch it with her? Or do you feel like one person, like, how did you feel doing one person? Did you feel like you could have wrapped it up earlier with her if you had two? Do you feel like you had to stretch it because it was one? Or did it feel natural? Did it go
It felt
fast?
natural to me. It went fast. I mean, I could definitely do two people. I've
In
done
1
two
hour?
people. I could do two people in 1 hour. I could do one person. I'll just gauge it.
Yeah. And also, it's not like it's like a TV where it has to be just an hour.
Mm-hmm.
One person more than an hour is a little much. But if you had two people, you could stretch it.
Yeah, that's fine. It could go back and forth. I mean, especially,
Hold on 1 second. Hello? Oh, shit, failed.
I feel like I want to sing or something. I just wish I could sing. I can't sing.
All right, hold on.
It's your world.
All right, look, it's saying this.
I guess, I want to recite from a Juma, my play.
I
wanna
am, but it
recite
just,
from it.
nothing happens. Then it keep.
Get people excited to come and see it. You guys were just testing some things out, so if you want to stay on, fine. But
The YouTube thing.
just thank everyone for coming
Oh,
to my
wow.
show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I know.
I had fun. I hope you guys
Now-
had fun too. Did you have fun?
I'm waiting for y'all to leave so I can clean up. I'm the cleaning crew. That was
It's
good.
even saying an error. Look, it's even
Thank
saying
you.
it's an error. Every time I hit it, it just comes back. Then it's back to
Yeah,
that.
actually,
I
you
did
can
all this
open.
already on my own.
You can
phone.
open the bag and.
I don't mess with it.
Okay.
All right. So just the whole computer, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So